Hello. Okay, first off, before we begin, common disclaimer, because I work for the Department of Defense, everything I'm about to tell you is not the official opinion of the Department of Defense, the United States government, or the United States military. If you know their official opinion about Anki, please let me know. You're stuck with my opinions. All right, so this talk is Anki for programmers. I'm a big Anki fan, and a little bit about me. Former US Army, now BTS Army, software team lead, and sad Dallas Cowboys fan. You wanna know why we're sad? Watch every season. And those are my links. All right, so what is the point of Anki? Anki is designed to solve two big problems. Number one, this is the forgetting curve designed by Armand Ebbinghaus. The whole point is you only remember 30% of what you remember after you study after 24 hours. So basically 70% of it after a day, gone. Problem number two, serial position effect. You remember a lot of what you did at the beginning, you remember a lot at the end. What you learned in the middle, good luck. So solution to this problem, we have spaced repetition. A lot of science gone into figuring this out. Here's the important thing. They spaced out their reviews of material. So you see they did a review day 1, they did a review day 3, and they did a review day 7. And what happens is the rate at which you're forgetting each review, if you space it out, is less. So as their curve is flattening out, they're remembering more of the material. So how can we use this? We can use Anki. What is the point of Anki? It's a free open source flashcard app, utilizes spaced repetition for review schedules. It was originally made for Japanese, and a lot of med students use it, wonder why. And this is an example of what it's like for language learning. All right, so why use Anki? Real fast, big plugin support. Good plugin community, so you get all sorts of cool tools. You can use it offline, unlike Quizlet, good luck with that. And it's free. Don't have to worry about the $20 a year or whatever. All right, so this is my usage tips. Practice daily, don't lie. So if you say a card was easy and when it wasn't easy, you will mess yourself up, don't do that. Write your own cards, so write as many cards as you possibly can. You remember more, add the material. Even if you don't master it at first, if you write your own cards versus just downloading all the time. And use closed cards. What's closed? Fill in the blank. I was learning TMUX. And is this dead? Oh, whatever. I'll figure it out. All right, so I was using TMUX, and what this shows is you can see right here, it lets you fill in the blanks. This is awesome. And cards are disposable. So the difference between like cattle and pets, you're not supposed to take care of these things forever. Do what you got to do, and then once you're done, delete your cards or suspend them. These are real life examples. This is what I was doing when I was in college. This is when I was doing coding interviews, trying to work at Google. You can tell I have way too much stuff on this card. Don't do like this. This is way too many blanks. So this is a better example. This is what I was doing for my math class. As you can see, I have a lot of blanks, but I'm only focusing on what's important. I'm not memorizing every math problem. I'm memorizing vocabulary that was tricky for me so I can just get it down so I can be successful in the test and use pictures to your advantage. You can attach pictures, audio, GIFs, whatever you want. Example 3, there's multi-line type answer box. This is awesome. You can do a whole box. So I had to memorize this entire algorithm. It was great. Only use when necessary. Further research, I wrote an article about this on Medium. You can scan the QR code, pull it up. It's about leak code because I was doing it religiously. It's a really good article. Let me know your feedback. If you hate it, let me know. I have thick skin. I won't be upset. I'll be glad you read it. All right. Thank you for attending my lightning talk.
Shameless plug, I'm here to get a job. This is my LinkedIn. I'm gonna be very honest. Good, okay. So, 8 months ago, I started a program at UT, the AI ML program. And my son would see me like always coding, always like staring at a screen, but always with a big smile on my face. And he's like, dude, what are you doing? I'm like, machine learning, AI, trying to explain to him. He's a 7-year-old. He's like, oh, is that hacking? I'm like, yes, I'm hacking. Now, go play Roblox. So anyways, so that's why I'm using the hacker term. Here we go. If Miss Rizzle were a hacker. What are you talking about, bro? Exactly. If you haven't met me and if you haven't been able to get to know me, I'm all gas, no brakes, so let's go. All right. A little bit of background about me. I've been a teacher for 17 years, still am. Although I am, right now I have an internship going on, unpaid. It's in the area of ed tech. It's for a company called Reality AI. I love it. We get to build really cool tools. Wow, cool story. Cool, bro. Next one. 17 years. I've taught only Title I special ed. I figured, I'm like, dude, if I'm going to be a teacher, I'm going to go where the big need is. Special ed, Title I. Want to make a difference in the world? Do that. You want to make even bigger difference in the world? Utilize ML and AI in those places, dude. That is the last day of my first year teaching. Tough. That's in the Tenderloin in San Francisco. And those kids are all like 20 years old, so maybe probably older. Next one, if Ms. Frizzle were a hacker, she'd scan IEPs with OCR. This is what data looks like. This is all fake data. Well, it's not fake data, it's fake goals for false students. She'd probably use OCR and scan all these goals and just take all this, probably run an NLP algorithm on this stuff and create goals dedicated specifically for each kid so that we utilize the real goals tailored to their needs. Oh, you think, if you've ever seen this movie, great. I love it. That's probably my favorite actor. Next one, if Miss Frizzle were a hacker, she'd predict who needs help before they fall behind. This is what data looks like in education. It's not pretty, it's crazy. We got to do some crazy stuff to make this stuff work. Again, favorite movie. All gas again, no brakes. Let's go. She's probably scanned some really cool stuff. If Miss Frizzle were a hacker, she'd never write another comprehension quiz by hand. Dude, you could just feed this stuff into an ML program and it'll generate a quiz off of stuff like this. Like this is just something on great white sharks. It would just scan it all and create an MCQ real quick, really easy. He's like, dude, stop embarrassing yourself, please. Again, that's my LinkedIn. Python gave me the power to turn empathy into algorithms. Now I'm building tools to help teachers, learners thrive. If Ms. Frizzle were a hacker, she'd forecast meltdowns like the weather. This is my favorite algorithm. It's called CALI. Compassion Algorithm for Learning Insights, Behavior Forecaster, horizon of 12 hours. I like this one. That's what data looks like in education. This is real data. Of course, I took out the student's name, of course, for FERPA laws. Put this into an algorithm that I have, crunch it out. That's obviously time series data up there. Red, yellow, green, how the student's behaving. Are they doing really good, really bad? Not so good, are they being violent? That's real data right there from 2022. This is what the front end looks like. Obviously, my algorithm saying, error, processing data, one hot encoder, not working, bro. Yes, I make errors, but that's real. Again, cool, yay, all right. If Ms. Frizzle says, take chances, make mistakes, I say, hire me, and let's hack education. That's my TED Talk.
All right. Hi, I'm Matt. I work at Glowforge, and I write software. So if you ever want to talk about software or lasers, let me know. Today, I'm here to give you the talk. I'm going to talk about large language models. If you don't talk to your kids about large language models, then who will? And you say, whoa, Matt, nobody's ever talked to me about large language models, especially not at this conference already several times. Well, you know, as they say, sometimes it takes up to 7 times of hearing something before it sinks in, so maybe for you, this is the time. I'm going to talk to you about how to solve your software problems with LLMs. I find it valuable when programming personally to find an appropriate contextualizing mental model for different technologies when I'm dealing with, and I want to propose one to you for how to better reason about using and integrating LLMs into your software to solve your problems. Step 1, don't do it. Thank you. Just kidding. Okay, if you value your sanity, don't do it. Why? LLMs are weird. That's a technical term. Two of my favorite things about software. Software is reproducible and deterministic most of the time. I wrote the software to do the thing, it does the thing. I put in a 2, I get out a 4 every time. That's how software is supposed to work. It's helpful because it's predictable and reasonable. There's well-defined boundaries. It's structured. It's hard. LLMs, on the other hand, they're chatty, they're random, they're unreliable, they're bad at remembering facts, they struggle with math and spelling. I don't know why that sounds familiar. But I propose to you, LLMs are squishy. Software is hard, LLMs are squishy, and maybe that can be helpful. Maybe you have squishy problems, and those require squishy solutions. Let's experiment. Classic example, summarization. You've got an article and you need to summarize it. So say, please summarize this article. And neat, you get some data back. This is probably as long as the article itself, so useful maybe. Let's get a little more specific. Let's say, I want to summarize this article for the purpose of using it as the headline for a tool that I'm writing. And you get some transformed data. Interesting. Let's dig even a little deeper and say, I want you to take a look at this article, and I want you to generate content tags for my content tagging platform so that I can contextualize and know where to put this data. And wow, additionally transformed data. We're getting somewhere interesting there. So let's take a look at some things that LLMs are actually pretty decent at. You can start to get a picture. I don't know how to do this with normal software. Maybe you do. You're probably awesome, but this is a little tricky. So if you've got issues like that, maybe you could look to LLMs. So let's talk about a mental model. Think about LLMs. They're kind of like an API. You make a request, you get data. But the API has moods. Sometimes it wants to be helpful. Sometimes it wants to be too helpful, and it lies to you. Sometimes it misunderstands the request. Sometimes it'll just flat out refuse to answer, or it'll break with no explanation. I want you to think of it kind of like a conversation partner. It's helpful if you're working with language and related squishy concepts, and you need to integrate those into your software. So your mission becomes less about assembling logical flow constructs and more about building a world of data around the LLM so it can transform your data. And it's a progressive process. The output's not what you want. You change the input. You see what happens. You keep tweaking. You think of it as a tool to take squishy things and progressively make them less squishy. You take the language, you expand it, you transform it, you start stringing calls together and building more complex flows with it. And then, at the end of that, you can start using things like structured outputs, where you force the output into a structured object that you can then use in your software. Or you use tool use, where your LLM recommends calls for you to make of APIs or other functions that you have available. Note, you're still writing software. Please, when you use LLMs, don't turn your brain off. Always make things work first before you change other things. That's a good software process. LLMs complicate everything. It's a skill that you're going to want to get better at. You practice it similar to the way you practice your small talk or finding your professional voice. You practice your LLM whisper. Jump into the ecosystem. I recommend you practice and you play with things. There's a quick couple things that I am out of time for. If you take nothing else away from this, read everything written by Ethan Mollick and Simon Willison. And thank you very much. I appreciate your time.
Awesome work.
All right, so I've got 5 minutes to help you all learn about mentoring. And because I'm lazy, my theory of mentoring is to be a slacker. And micro-mentoring is something that I've been doing probably for over a decade now, but I wasn't the one that came up with it. Back when I was 21, long time ago, I thought that I was a broken, isolated, stupid failure when it came to doing engineering. Didn't matter that I had good grades, but I thought I was a failure. And I had this amazing person come into my life, 5-minute phone call. Margaret encouraged me to speak with her at an interview. She coached me and she said, hey, why don't you come to MIT but not do engineering, do something else? And I was like, okay, well, I don't know, maybe. Well, she challenged me and encouraged me. And these are the 5 things that she did time and time again, took less than 5 minutes of her day. And the first one is she showed up. Hey, can the audience participation stuff, how many of you can show up for somebody else? Okay, good. The next thing she did, she listened. She listened to what I was interested in. I said I wanted to take the engineering stuff about networking and digital networks and help get educational materials out in the world. That's what I wanted to do. And she's like, oh, I can help you do that. So then she explained to me how she thought I could do that and asked me a very simple question. What do you think? Does this seem to fit with what you need? How many can do that? Okay, still. Then she acted. She said, okay, here, I'm going to give you this information. I want you to follow this process and then get back to me. How many of you can do that? Or have done that? Great. And then the last part is, she's like, I want you to recharge and rest because you can't succeed if you're exhausted. You can push through it for a little bit, but all of us know who've been in open source for a while, Marietta alluded to it, Jay alluded to it in their keynotes. When you're exhausted, you don't function well. So how many of us enjoy the time that we have to recharge? Okay, so being a slacker and being a mentor doesn't have to be a huge, long, multi-hour, multi-day, multi-year event. 5 minutes, the time of this lightning talk, is all you need to change somebody else's direction. Somebody came up to me this morning. Last year I gave a keynote here, and she's like, you gave me some really good advice. And I said, did I? Or did I just ask you some questions? Kind of find out what you wanted to do, what you were interested in. And lo and behold, she changed her direction. I've seen this work over and over again. So if you can show up for somebody, listen to them, ask good questions, because the reason we ask questions is if we assume that we know what people need, oftentimes that's not the right thing. My mentor, Margaret, asked me, what do I need? I said, I need money, because right now I'm in Boston and I can either buy food or a winter coat. And it gets cold in Boston. So she said, okay, here's a scholarship. And then I didn't apply for it. And she's like, why didn't you apply? The deadline's on Monday. And I was like, well, everybody told me I wouldn't get it. And all she said was, you're not going to get it if you don't apply. Happily, I did get it. But question what will help someone else. Don't assume. Act, and then put your own oxygen mask on, get some rest, have some fun. This is a long journey in open source. Enjoy it. And thank you to everybody in here who has inspired me. Even if I haven't met you, the fact that you're in here, this talk could certainly be called PyTexas is the home for micro-mentoring. Thanks so much.
Thank you, which is so topical to my talk. In human language, we can say thank you in lots of different words like gracias, grazie, or, terima kasih, obrigada. How do we say this in the Python language? What's the Pythonic way? How do we say thank you to all our amazing Python community members we met here? So I have a long list on how you can express your gratitude, and number 5 will surprise you. Level 0, actually say thanks to the person that's been helpful. Say thanks to them. And I put level 0 here not because it's not important, but because, we're programmers, we come from 0. And also, I know you're all doing this already. It's easy to do, keep doing it. Level 1, say thanks in public. Like, don't keep things to yourself. Share the joy with your friends, your colleague, your network. Tell it to their boss. By saying thanks in public, you're giving visibility of their work, the recognition that they deserve. You'll also be helping to further amplify the impact of their contributions, helping their content reach even more audience, helping their tools library be discovered and used by even more people. So, and maybe you're afraid or afraid to embarrass the people you want to thank, or maybe you're embarrassed yourself. Don't be embarrassed. Accomplishments is not a shame. It should be celebrated. So, thank them. Level 2, now show that you're actually interested. I know you want them to continue contributing or continue maintaining the library, continue running the meetup next year, running the conference again next year. You don't have to wait until they did all of that again to say thanks. Just show your interest, follow them or subscribe to the newsletter, to the blog, to YouTube, whatever. Follow them on social media. Show your interest so that they feel motivated and want to continue. Level 3, don't just use or don't just attend meetups. So contribute back. Find the GitHub repo, check the contributing guide, learn how to start contributing. Don't just come to the conference, meetups. Offer to help, offer to volunteer. So help lessen their burden and responsibilities by helping them out so that they can continue doing the great things they're already doing. Level 4, don't have time or energy to actually contribute or volunteer. Give them money. Sponsor your favorite open source maintainers on GitHub, Open Collective, Patreon, Coffee, PayPal. There's so many ways. And if you don't know or cannot find such info, ask them. Like, do you have GitHub sponsor? No. Why don't you set it up so I can support you? So that's not an excuse that they do not have a way to receive money. Just ask them. Even if they don't want money, it makes them feel valued. So ask them. If you have a favorite Python conference, check their sponsorship prospectus and tell your employer to sponsor the event. This is getting hard, right? Level 5. Nominate them for awards. If you hear my keynote, you know just how motivating it is to receive award certificates, to be validated. And the good news is there are so many ways to give them awards, even just in the Python community. And some of these awards comes with money. So you don't have your own money to give, you make other people, other orgs give money to them. So, and people don't just magically receive awards. Somebody needs to submit a nomination. So you can be the one helping and nominating them for any of these awards. I have a big list here. And one mistake I've seen is don't assume that, this person is so amazing. Surely they've been rewarded. Surely they received the award already. This is the big mistake. Check or ask if you've got this award. And if you're not sure, I actually have, before I go there, what I want to say that if everybody thinks that surely you got the award, I don't need to do anything, ended up nobody's really doing anything and nobody gets the award. So if you're interested to know more about all of this list, all of those awards, how do you nominate people, when can you nominate people, I have the list in my blog post. Please read them and go thank the Python people. And you don't have to look far. Just look at this room, this full of amazing Python people. Thank them, make sure they get recognition. Start with level 0, go all the way up to level 5. Thank you so much.
All right. So the title of this is Please Don't Do This. I might have changed the title a little bit because I knew it wouldn't get accepted, of why we're going to talk about never to use an ORM. No, I'm just kidding. That's not what it's about. But really, how many people here still have to work with people remotely, maybe share your screen, see what they're talking about, or is everyone still back in the office? Like, we're sharing, right? So in those meetings, do you ever have times when someone volunteers you to share and they're like, Lazarus, do you mind sharing your screen? About what, right? I don't know about you. There's a few coworkers that I have that I hate when they share their screen, right? Don't volunteer to share your screen. Why? Because they'll ask for help. They're gonna show me what they're looking at, right? They're gonna look up and be like, oh, this Django setting module, I have it here, it's not working. I'm pretty sure this should be the value. They're not telling anybody else though. They're using an 85-inch monitor. So what do I see? This. I don't know what you're looking at. I can't see that. If you're only showing me your terminal, only share your terminal, right? Some of us use 3 monitors, 2 monitors, 85-inch monitors, 64-inch ultra curved monitors, but you never know who on the other side, what they're looking at. So let's not do this. What about this one? Any clue? Oh, okay, let me see. Yeah, let me show you the Pulumi config. Oh, what tab is it? And they start clicking through every tab. You pinged me asking me to look at something. Pull that tab out and just share that tab, right? I don't want to spend my day waiting for you to go through 65 tabs just to have your computer not work because you're using Chrome and you're out of RAM. What's wrong with this one? I get you have a favorite color schema. When you are just flowing, this works for you. My eyes can't take it. My eyes can't take it. Finally, what's wrong with this one? Now, this one isn't hard and fast. This one's a personal pet peeve. No Comic Sans. You can use whatever font you want. You can use whatever font you want. You can use whatever color you want. But as soon as you're sharing, think about the person on the other side, right? Make it easier for us to help you, just like we should be thinking about making it easier for you to help us, all right? So I'll give a slide on the Comic Sans as long as it's not a motivational quote at the end of an email. That one, Comic Sans gets me a little bit, but that's all I got for you. Thank you.
Just look here. All right, so we are professionalizing your open source. How do I go from a ragtag group of coder nerds to a professional org pitching to Moneybags McGee and getting contracts? Well, okay, what am I qualified to talk about this? I got a little bit in the community. So currently I am the Director of Community and Developer Relations at Anaconda. This is a relatively new role. I am on my 6th week. I'm the Chair of the Python Software Foundation Board of Directors. And then there's like other things that I do. Shout out to Marietta, where my co-founder. I do Wagtail CMS, and I'm a mentee of CPython, and I'm very, very proud of that. There are a lot of people this far in their career who do not claim the mentee title, but I am always learning, and I'm learning from really awesome people. So how do you do it? Well, here are some projects that I've done various levels of professionalizing with, open source projects, and they all have different models on how they get revenue and how they talk to their end users. Python in the CPython, but also on the Python Software Foundation board, Django, I've organized things. VS Code, an interesting model as well. Is it semi-open source, and it's entirely maintained by one organization? And at Conda, I have jumped into the deep end. We've created and incubated. We also maintain and fund, and has its own hairy relationship with the community. But we navigate it because we are all humans, and we move forward in unison with a similar goal to make the ecosystem better. Before we get too deep, I wanted to put the bottom line on top. This is my email. Tell me how you're data sciencing. And on the left, these are all of the answers to the questions, right? These are all of the answers. This is what we're going through. But it's not putting on a suit. It's not necessarily brand design. It's not finding the Gartner white space on where you should be entering the ecosystem. And it's not necessarily a dedicated HR and staff, although it helps. It could also be partly the plot of Silicon Valley TV show, but with a distinction of you want to be pre-profit, if you remember the joke, but understanding the market and all these details, and then you profit. Well, in open source, you usually are starting with something cool. But I love to lead with authenticity, and that's what I tell my teams that I work with. If you are not super excited to show all of the use cases with your developer tool, then you should be really excited about taking that feedback and then bringing it back to your engineering team, and then being very proud of how well that you can take that feedback. Show up with authenticity. Also, show up with empathy. Know your users. This is where you're going to get deep into your developer experience. Become obsessed with the user. Now, that is a little bit of the West Coast big tech vibe to be customer obsessed, but I think it's a fantastic way to really get into the shoes of your users. Be curious, ask questions, challenge your assumptions. Have a clear ask. My clear ask was to tell me your data science-y problems. It is terrible to have a wonderful product and not have an ask of the people who are standing in front of you interested once you have their attention. Examples of value propositions, examples of ones that I've had before, but once you understand your developer experience, understand why they want to use your tool. And it may feel more like you are in a co-opetition with some of these people in open source. But saddle up, partner. Let's just be friends. Open source is a unique paradigm where we break the laws of physics and make the pie bigger. And now we get to profit, right? Well, once you profit, maybe that comes early or later, your users are going to really want consistency. But that's going to be consistency in feature output, consistency in messaging, consistency in licensing, consistency in visual identity. And you want to build trust. And this is an equation I talk with my teams and the PSF about all the time. So I love this one. I reference it. It's in blog posts. I send it around in my Slacks all the time. And then experiment. If you're lucky enough to have a team that will experiment with you and really do like literal A/B studies, but experiment and try to run controlled studies so you can understand how you can grow. And then build a feedback loop. And that's really the essence of when I'm describing DevRel to people who don't understand DevRel. I'm building feedback loops with our developers who use our tools.
Time.
All right, and that's it actually.
All right, ready to go? Hello, my name is Kojo. The title of my talk is, what is it? I can't remember what I called it. Grow your career through the power of friendship, I believe is what I titled my talk. Let me sort of acknowledge some bias here. I joke with my friends that I'm professionally trained in capitalism. I've got an accounting degree and an MBA. And one of the things that often came up while getting an MBA was this idea of networking in professional settings. And so people, I am 12,000 years old. So back in my day, we had like business cards, and you go to places and people would hand out their business cards to each other, and there was a lot of that. Here in 2025, it's more exchanging LinkedIn links and making connections and that sort of thing. And while there's nothing inherently wrong with that, I would submit that the power of friendship is greater than those things. So I would say to you, make friends, not connections. You can connect with people on LinkedIn, but I think making friends is more important, more valuable than that. Why? One, friends will actually advocate for you. A connection, they know you, they know who you are, but is that connection going to actually advocate for you, going to try to benefit you and try to help you? So then the question then becomes, well, but how? And again, we're software developers, a lot of us are introverted. So how do you make friends? I would submit that to make friends, you should try to be a friend. Also, this talk could be much shorter because I could just say, well, how do you make friends? How do you be a friend to people? Well, look at reference Carol's talk and Mariatta's talk, and that's, you put those together and that will work, but I have some other words that I wrote, so I'll share those with you. I would say that conversations are greater than connections. And so you can meet someone and then, exchange a business card or make a connection on LinkedIn, but actually having a conversation with people builds a stronger, more durable connection and it helps lead to friendship. Conversations happen over time. A connection that you make or a business card that's exchanged is simply a moment in time where there's not really much behind it. So I'd say, focus on conversations, and being at events like this are great places to have conversations. Connecting with people in the Discord or the Slack for an event and starting having conversations that way can lead to much stronger connections and beginnings of friendships much more effectively than making a LinkedIn connection or exchanging a business card. That also gives you an opportunity to learn more about the people that you're interacting with and then find people who you actually have true or more internal connections with. I am friends with people, I'm connected with people on LinkedIn because they are my friends. I'm not friends with anybody because I'm connected with them on LinkedIn. So I think I'm connected to Carol on LinkedIn and probably to Marietta, but it's because they are my friends in real life, and when I see them, I will hug them, and that's why we're connected on LinkedIn. The LinkedIn came much later. Help your friends. Make an effort to help your friends. Share information that you have with your friends, information that you think might be valuable to them. Think about them when you're not around them. Try to make introductions. If you know someone that you think either might be a benefit to your friend or that your friend might be able to benefit, try to make those introductions. Try to build your friend circle, help introduce them to other people. Ask your friends how they're doing and what they're doing and what's going on with them. Again, this is all valuable for your friends. And try to see your friends as much as you can. The simplest ways to do that are try to be involved in your local community. If there's a local meetup where you live, then that's great. We're all here at PyTexas, so even if you can't get to a local meetup all the time, PyTexas, thanks to Mason, has a monthly virtual meetup, and you can, quote unquote, meet people there. That's an excellent way. If you have an opportunity to go to conferences, which you do because you're all here in front of me here at PyTexas, so you have come to a conference. None of you lives here in this library. That's a great way to meet people, to make friends. But if you can go to other regional conferences, we just saw PyCon US is coming up relatively soon, PyCascade, various other conferences around the country and around the world, really. That's a whole separate talk. You could have a Python global vacation, but that's a different talk. That can also help you find job opportunities and career opportunities in those areas where you don't live. So go see your friends and see what's happening where they are. And what's going on, and then let them do the same. Let them come and see you, come to conferences near where you are. And I realize that I say this, and it is a harder thing to do to build friendships and relationships than to just exchange a business card or to make a connection on LinkedIn, but I would submit to you that it is of much greater value. And you might think, well, Kojo, I don't have like fancy friends like Marietta and like Carol like you do. How do you think I got the fancy friends? But by being a friend and being friendly. So hopefully that's helpful. Thank you very much, and that's all.